Star Wars Battlefront 2. It's a cool game. Wasn't as good as the OG. It's usually how things go though, huh? But it was still cool nonetheless. I mean, it's not as arcadey and didn't have that classic vibe, but I guess for today, yeah, it works. Yeah, it was cool. One thing I really liked about this one versus Battlefront is that it had a campaign. It had a story. Like, dude, a Star Wars game without a story is kind of weird. I don't know, like, because you think of the movies and the big production value and the epic moments, and you know, if you're just shooting at other people all day, it's not really that epic to me. But because yeah, I don't remember Battlefront very well. But I know they had like a 3-star system. There was some minor cutscenes here and there. It wasn't really, it was like a weird... The whole thing just felt like training or like being really good at certain things, which was nice. I think it really built you in for this game. But yeah, there just wasn't really a lot there. Like, it was still really cool. It was like Battlefront came back. It looked really nice. But yeah, I definitely prefer 2. Even the OG games, 2 is... I like 2 a lot more. It's just more of Battlefront. It's more Battlefront, dude. More clone troopers, more characters, more weapons, more maps, more players, more people, more things, more stuff. I mean, the thing with sequels, sometimes they can kind of like take a dive because of the direction. That's really all it ever is like, what direction are they going? But here, it's like more of Battlefront, more Star Wars. That's a good thing. They didn't take anything away. If anything, they added more, which, great. I'm all for it. Yeah, it's fun. I think it's a game you have to commit a lot of time to and really know your weapons, know your abilities, know your characters, know your maps. I mean, okay, that's just like the PvP part of it, but that is kind of the main thing here, and that's... I don't know. I would have preferred a Battlefront mode. I don't think that even exists here. There's a lot of modes here. But just give me a classic Battlefront mode, but with like AI. I think that would be pretty cool. I mean, literally all that this is Battlefield. I guess the closest Battlefield you might be able to compare to this, if you really have to, would be like, you know, something like 2042, as far as just futuristic stuff goes. But yeah, it's just, I mean, it's EA. My issue with this game, and with Battlefield for that matter, is like, it's so hard to find people. Everyone is like, I wouldn't say blends in with their environment, because this is Star Wars. Like, not everything is like super camouflage or like, I don't know, like nowadays, but playing this is hard. Like, people are really good. They play this every day, and it's, you know, they have all the characters, they have all the stuff. I don't know, that stuff kind of sucks, because like I like Star Wars, I really do. I want to just kind of go in and I normally cover the campaign and stuff first, but unfortunately the campaign is kind of like a really, it's, I would say it's probably like really, as a whole, probably only like a quarter of the game. Just with how much other stuff they have going on, which is kind of unfortunate. But yeah, I don't know, when you're just running around and everyone's like kind of shooting you down, you're getting shot from across the map, you're getting naded, people are using their abilities, like, dude, it's rough, man. I can at least go in Battlefield. Granted, I think I've played Battlefield PvP more, especially throughout all their games. There's only 2 Battlefronts. Which isn't a lot to go off of, but it does make you kind of concentrate on this game more. Yeah, I don't know, especially when you're getting put in with like, what, 64 players? Like, bro, it sucks, man. It's, you know, I know this is only one Star Wars game, there's plenty more to play out there, but this is probably the most recent, relevant, fun, replayable Star Wars that there is, really. Like, as much as I like Jedi's Fallen Order, for example, I really do think Battlefront 2 specifically is a little more fun. I like the Jedi stuff, I don't know. I want to say, like, I haven't played every Jedi game, but, well, the games with Jedis in them, which, okay, this game has Jedis in them too, kind of. It's not quite the same thing, but, like, this is the combat, like, just let me shoot a blaster, you know? I just think that with lightsabers, this high energy beam sword is, it's kind of an awkward weapon to use in a weird way. But, I don't know, and to be fair, there's so many modes, there might be like an all AI mode, I don't really know. Like, obviously they're going for the whole multiplayer thing, and which is kind of cool. It just sucks when everyone's better than you. I think everyone likes Star Wars enough to a point where, like, they're gonna be willing to put in the effort and the energy, and maybe a lot, maybe a little, maybe somewhere in between, but it's always kind of there. And if you even like, assuming you even like Star Wars at all, which is like, what, 90% of people, I would say, to be honest. But it's just, I don't know. I like everything about Battlefront. I just wish, like, if we got this, and that's kind of what the campaign is. I don't know, man. I guess here's the thing. Give me Battlefront, the mode, not the single player campaign they did here. It was way too small. It was way too. It was just weird. I like that it was included in here, but when you compare it to the multiplayer mode, it's such a small handful of stuff. And granted, this game's had a weird history. I don't really need to cover any of that necessarily, but like, they did add in like a second chapter to the story, which is kind of cool. So they at least did that. It's basically a follow-up to the first campaign is kind of short. It's pretty standard for a campaign, I suppose, but like, it felt really Battlefield. It felt really Call of Duty. Like, here we are with another PvP based game with a tiny little PvE mode in it, and I don't know. Granted, I liked the story, I really did, but I think let me be in the boots of a soldier, just a regular clone trooper, man. That's the thing. Sometimes these games and movies and these industries, like, I think overthink stuff way too much, man. Because you know what's on the top of their mind? Money. They're not even like, hey, we're just gonna kind of put out this game for y'all. If you want to buy it, do it. If you don't want to, fine. But what do they try to? What does everything try to do? Squeeze the most money out of you as they possibly can. Granted, you're getting this AAA experience, so that's bound to happen, but like, I don't know. And granted, there might be other Star Wars games out there that kind of fills that gap that I'm looking for, but some of those games are very available and purchasable now, but they're so old. And there's so many different kinds. It's like, what am I gonna do? Get them all and play them all? And it's like, I don't know, man. Give me this. Let me be a clone trooper. Let me go throughout my life, eating, training, whatever clone troopers do. Let me go into battle when I am needed and shoot everything down. That would be fun. Really being in the boots of a clone soldier, a clone trooper. We've always kind of wondered what that was like ever since Clone Wars, ever since Camino. You know, that's what a lot of we got to see was like, hey, what do they look like when they're all marched up? You know, granted, I know why they featured them so much is because of the fact that what they ended up doing later and what they eventually did become, but like, that would have been kind of cool. I don't know, just like, but games don't ever think like that. They always try to think way too damn big. Let me be freaking the Boba Fett clone or whoever the heck he is, man, the Django dude. Give me my weapons, man. Let me be other characters, I guess, right? Like, put me in different shoes, but just keep it like clone trooper based. That's what Battlefront's all about. You didn't need to put in like heroes and Jedis. And, oh my gosh, dude. They're trying to put in every generation of Star Wars in this. The grand scale of the game was really cool. I just wish they would have done less. Which is a weird thing to ask for, but maybe that's what some people want. Everybody? I don't know about that, but some people, you gotta keep those people in mind too. Because all that we can really do is like settle for what we get and be like, well, this isn't kind of what I probably would have wanted, but hey, that's what they did. I'll just play it, fine. And that sucks because it is Star Wars, and I'd love to give it a lot more credit than I am. But it's just something to think about. But the cutscenes are good.
You're right. The Empire's time has come. VZ 626.
I mean, granted, we got to be... Funny enough, I don't know why, but this really was like an Empire-based character pro-antagonist game. Which was cool. I think by this time they really... Well, I think they've known this for a long time, but like people know that like the dark side is cooler. We all know it. No offense, Luke, and you know all them, but like I think they realized that, and they kind of rolled with it. Because the campaign, you know, the only story-based stuff to go with the game. Like, dude, we've got Star Wars games for so many years and lore, story, like... I kind of get why they did this, but, like, I don't know. But once again, it's just, like... It was so small. Like, the campaign could have been a whole different game. Why was it tied to this? To me, it felt like it had nothing to do with this. Like, granted, I'm sure it had a lot to do with it when you really think about, like, the events occurring and... whatever's like kind of tied to each other and what took place for this to happen, whatever chain of events, your series of events, whatever. But like, it literally, if that was a whole different game, I would have been just fine with it. Maybe it didn't even have to be like a full price game. It could have just been like, especially with that chapter 2 behind it, right? Make it like half price, you know? When I want to play Battlefront, I want to play Battlefront. I don't... It's just weird having that... And a lot of games do that. I feel like it's a very weird, bad habit to get into. Because granted, you're kind of getting a 2-for-1, which is great. But the issue with that is energy distribution. Like, it gets distributed between the single player and the multiplayer. And I don't think a lot of games really have that kind of figured out. Because unfortunately, you're putting so much into this campaign. But the multiplayer overshadows it every single time. Call of Duty, Battlefield, Battlefront. You know, if you want to do that with like Call of Duty and then Battlefield and now Battlefront, like doing it with like the COD and Battlefront, fine. Don't do that to my Star Wars games. I don't think we get a lot of Star Wars stuff. At least, like, nowadays. I think they kind of just stick to their arcs or whatever it is that they're doing, which is now the Jedi stuff. I don't know. And granted, like, okay, if I went out and bought a PS2, right? Because I don't think the original is available digitally on the PlayStation Store. I have no idea. But let's say I just went for it. I'm gonna go get a PS2, get Battlefront 2, and just play that. Like, dude, that's not like the point. I should not have to like go out of my way or go back to play something that old with something I could have had today just as easy. Granted, you could think of these games as like reboots. I mean, that's technically what they are. Remake. But honestly, just like a modern, and we can't all get what we want, I realize that, but just like a modern remaster Battlefront 2, that would have been sweet. I would have been freaking super happy with that instead, but this is what we got. And as cool and good as it is, great graphics, good music, there's a lot of stuff to do, there's a lot of characters, a lot of things to unlock. There is the bulk of the campaign, but man, I don't know. It's not really enough for me. I kind of expect more, I guess. Which is weird to say because they put so much in here, but it's so much stuff that I just cannot connect with, or that I can't really deal with, or like want to bother with. I don't know. Just wasn't really what I wanted. I think you get that hit of endorphins and serotonin or whatever, like, oh my god, Battlefront's back, oh this is so cool, and Battlefront 2, and now it's all online PvP based. And I mean, dude, back in the PS2 it wasn't like that. I don't think online was really like a thing, like unless you really went out of your way to do it. But that's what made the old games so good, and then they kind of took this and just adapted it to modern requirements. And I don't know, shit, man. You know, instead of the campaign, here's a thought. do the PvP stuff, but do like a PvE version of everything that PvP would have been or whatever. I don't know. Is that asking too much? I don't know. As much as I appreciated the campaign and the enthusiasm and the thought of it, and it was a nice gesture, but get that out of here. Give me a PvE based battle. That sounds so fun. Granted, if they did a PvE Battlefront thing, I feel like it would be a little flat, like kind of menu based, like, oh, go here, do this, do that. I don't think it would have been quite like as story driven as I probably would have liked it to be. If they do it right, maybe. But here's another comparison, Destiny. Even if they did something like that, I don't know. Like, hey, this is a PvE, PvP game. But there is story, there is a lore, there's stuff going on, there are cutscenes, there are updates, there are new content, whatever. I think this could have been done similarly that way, and that might have worked. You know, because even campaigns in Destiny, I don't really buy it. I think it's kind of like, it's there, but no one cares. You know, what they want to do is all the online matchmaking stuff. So with all these like suggestions, I realized like, hey, this might not be an easy thing to kind of execute, but it could be done. Yeah, the gameplay is cool. But with all that said, I don't want to like dampen the fact that like, hey, we did get a single player campaign. I am very thankful for that. If it didn't have that, this would be a very different conversation. That was the only thing that kind of that's what wanted me to play this ultimately. Like, okay, it's still Battlefront 2, I'm gonna play it no matter what. It's Star Wars. But I was like, ooh, a campaign? PvE? Let's go. I don't get games just for multiplayer, man. There's enough of that out there already, and especially for free, for that matter, that like... Jesus, man. Like, granted, this is in a Star Wars fashion and style and formula, but like... I don't know. Hey, you never know. There might be a Battlefront 3. But hey, I'm thankful nonetheless. Like, I know it's easy to like kind of go there and come up with these things and negative things, but I really don't want to do that. Not with this game, not with Star Wars. Most other games I don't really care about, because dude, I grew up with Star Wars. I can like, I think you hold stuff like this a little more closer to your heart than just random games that are just kind of floating out there that don't really have any kind of significant meaning to you at all whatsoever. This game does, okay? Like, I know Star Wars fans can be picky and, you know, uptight, have an ego and self-righteous and greedy, and I mean, we just love it so much. We want more of it. We respect it. We want them to succeed and to go in a right direction for us, the people who are going to play it, the consumers, the fans. They're so worried about catering to everybody, like, and they do this a lot too in all their recent shows, the prequels, well, prequels, sequels, I don't even know now. There's so much of it, man. They really did build an empire off of Star Wars, literally. And I don't know, like, hey, if you were around back then and you got to play a lot of this stuff, which I did, thankfully, great. But I'm not talking about then. I'm not talking about the future. I'm talking about now. I don't know. To be fair though, this is an EA game, and to be honest, like, EA games have always kind of steered me in a really weird direction. I don't even know what they do with their games half the time. They're just kind of games that are out there, and I mean, we're talking Need for Speed, we're talking Battlefield. I don't even need to mention those are the only EA games I really play, but and obviously they've had the Star Wars license for a long time now. You know, all the controversy behind this game, that's not even what bugs me. I think it's just the game itself, literally. Like, I just wish there was more. I wish there was less of what they did and more of what I think we all would have liked a little bit more. I don't know. Especially when you are thinking replayability, right? Like, okay, well, people are going to play the PvP. But why would I do this long ass campaign that I honestly don't really give a shit about? It was really good. It was heartfelt, genuine, wholesome, blah blah blah. I just didn't care for it, man. It was just another weird random Star Wars chapter. Why do they do this? We're gonna give you a little bit of this and that and this and that, like all these characters, stories, and which is really cool. Like they think big, like the galaxy, space. But see, that's where I think they fall flat, is they think too big. Maybe give us less. Less is more. Like all these things. Games never do this, and it's always going to be my gripe, is like, make it simple, man. Make it easy, make it basic, make it relatable as a human being, and let us live our life in a different way and not necessarily have to be this character we don't care about, and or we eventually start to care about. Sure, man, I don't know, this is just kind of what they've been doing, and the direction that they've gone in as a whole, I'm not really a super big fan of. But I mean, what are you gonna do at this point, right? Multiplayer was cool.
Detonator on the west! Turbo laser!
But yeah, it's just rough because, like, we got this, and then we got Jedi Fallen Order, and now a new game coming out. Dude, even Jedi steered me so wrong in so many ways. Like, can we just get like a normal Star Wars game? Is that so crazy to think about? Like, oh my gosh, dude. It's just gotten too big for its own good. And it's been like that since day one. We're talking, what, 20 plus years later? So, you know, like, maybe even longer. I don't even really remember when all this necessarily began, like the exact year, but wasn't it like the 70s or something? I don't know. Dude, it's been a while. You know, Star Wars came out like way before I was even born, like a kid. But this is what I grew up with. This was kind of what really got me through. It wasn't always like about Disney and cartoons, and it was Star Wars. And as an adult, as I got older, it's just, I don't know. This game is just very, it's not memorable. It's not really, you know, it's exciting for probably the first day, week that you play it, and then that's it. And it kind of sucks because, like I said, I have the game, I still have it, and I'd love to play it more. So most of the time I'd rather probably be playing something Star Wars than most other games. Like, I wouldn't mind that at all, but that's just not gonna happen here. So I don't know, Disney, I mean, don't forget your fans, you know? Don't forget that, like, just because a lot of people like Star Wars, there's some people that hold it a little more dear to their hearts than others, and you know, just don't forget that. Keep that in mind for next time. Write a note. Because the only people that this game is mostly catering to is people that like PvPs, people that also happen to like Star Wars, and good for them. Give us a PvE Battlefront game. And leave this campaign out of it. Other than that, it's Star Wars. There's really not much to say about it. Dude, there's lasers and droids and ships and... That's about it. But yeah. Star Wars Battlefront 2. Ba-doo, 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 ba-doo.